hey, it's Tom Sawyer on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again. This is a relic from beyond this YouTube channel. This is the first, well, one of the very first forays into working on guitars. 12 years later, I am going to completely revamp this, or we'll see what we do with this, but we're gonna do some work on this to get it into a great playing order for my niece. Okay, so I already did a little bit, but the nut, the old nut, completely shattered. So now I need to get rid of all this because there is chips of the rosewood that have come off. So I need to flatten that out, and I'm gonna put in a piece of rosewood at the very end here. But in order to get that nice and flat, just getting rid of the majority of the excess. I'll do ever so slightly more. There we go.
That looks much better. Then I can add a piece of rosewood.
There we go. I'm just gonna remove the burr a little bit on it, so. Now this isn't something that's gonna see a lot of wear and tear, so we are just gonna put it in place with super glue. I could do it with wood glue, but there's just really no good way of clamping it up. So there. Lean that up against the old slot there. Press down. And just trim off the sides and make it look nice. We're gonna follow that carve when we go to the workshop. We're gonna sand that down. So getting rid of screws that have broken in wood is never fun. But one way to go about it is drill a hole 4 different sides of the broken screw. Then you'll be able to get some sort of appliance in there for you to twist it out, which can be tricky. So I didn't drill the holes deep enough. Essentially, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Now you're wondering, well, you're just making a big hole. Well, yes, I am, but we're gonna be filling that up, don't you worry. This is why breaking screws in is a royal nightmare. Okay, it's coming. There. Now we can easily deal with that with just a little piece of, well, toothpick or something like that, fill it up. So let's do that real quick. If I were to leave this headstock actually natural in color, I would get some maple and fill up that slot, but such is not the case. We're going to be painting over it, so all we need to really worry about is filling it. There we go. Now we have something that currently looks absolutely horrible, but once we sand everything down and we're going to paint over it, it's going to be just fine. All right, going to get loud very soon, but we are going to fix up this back route here because it's currently not great. So little by little, taking it down. First step is going to be a little bit more, so yeah, let's go for it. Okay, so I'm going to get away most of it with this. What was this? This is the Radiant Tools 19 mil and 10 mil long. So it's not going to take forever as it did with the previous one. Alrighty, so we have excavated most of this material, which has made this a lot lighter. We've also got the back cavity route now looking the way it should. And next up, lots of sanding. up to 320. I'm gonna put a little veneer in the back because I don't like the holes coming through, but this turned out pretty nice. I also sanded down the headstock and the back of the neck. Now everything has been machine sanded, and what we're gonna do next is what I've already kind of started here a little bit. We're gonna do the hand sanding. So what that entails is just making sure that everything is good to go. And we're also gonna finally do the roundovers, which we didn't do with the machine, just so that we can get them nice and even, looking consistent all the way around. Also gonna be sanding the roundovers on the neck. And then we're pretty much good to go and put on sealer coats. So essentially I'm trying this, well, going back to an old way of how I used to do things. I used to use a clear coat to kind of use as a sealer, and then after that, then only go and do paints and the proper clear coats and stuff like that. What this guitar is gonna end up with is some Maston moss green, and moss green is matte itself. We're gonna go high gloss for the body of the guitar, satin for the neck, and well, the neck is gonna be natural, but we're gonna do a moss green headstock. And then the pick guard is gonna be black, but satin black. So I think everything's gonna pull together pretty well. And also I should note that I'm gonna be using these Kovacs, what were these, double flex or something like that. But these pads are extremely useful. I got a few different ones there, but the coarser 2 grits gonna use for the roundovers on the body. Because of course we're not going to be putting any finish onto the fretboard itself. We need to mask that off. Just using my fingernail here to burnish it down all along the side of the fret, like so. Yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna mask out the fretboard. Be back in a sec. At the spray room of Walker Vestas, and yeah, usually it's not in this bad of a condition, but now it's in dire need of cleaning. But we're not going to let that bother us today. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be spraying the pick guard black. Then we're going to do the body and the neck. We're going to do with satin, Maston 1. I'm going to be, in general, just using Maston 1 rattle cans. I have spoken about these cans quite a bit and why I tend to like to use them. And we'll go over that in more detail as well. But essentially, the reason why I like to use them is because they go on nice and thin. They have this adjustable nozzle, so you can actually get a nice fan, which makes spraying guitars and stuff like that very, very easy. But it goes on very thin. It's acrylic, so it's actually very hard as well, which both of these things make for the ideal finish for me. So I'm going to be using this as a sealer for the body, but then as, you know, just working up with the neck. So satin black for the pick guard, satin clear for the neck, and then as a sealer coat, satin clear for the body. All right, I'm gonna be mixing these cans up, and then I'll see you in the spray booth. I don't know how much you can see or how focused it is, but hopefully we get a good enough shot for you. So just making sure that there's no excess dust on the body here. And then we're going to be starting off doing the sides, then the back, and then the front. And following the curve, keeping about 15 centimeters away from the actual paintable surface. So there we go. And I'm following the curve of the body as I go. Then when I'm going over, I'm basically going to have the first layer, and then the next pass is going to go half on top of the previous pass.
There's actually some nice flame in that piece there. Too bad we're not going to see it. Alright, so that's the body done. And the first layer of it, we're going to do at least, so this session we're going to do 3 layers of this. The first coat is rather very, very light, but the next couple of coats, they're going to go on a bit thicker. The very good thing about Maston 1 spray is that it dries touch dry in 5 minutes, and then you can put on new layers. So there's going to be a very easy and quick process. I don't need to do the other side really, but I'm just doing enough on the edges so that we don't see white peeking through, because this used to be a white pick guard. Alright, cool.
Alright, so this is gonna dry up nice. We're gonna put more probably tomorrow, and there's still a little bit to go on this one. I think one more layer should about do it, and then we'll get there. That's going to be nicely sealed up for paint tomorrow. Speaking of paint, the black pick guard, looking all right. There's some stuff on the surface there that isn't great. I might put clears on this just to give it that extra level of protection, but that's going to be satin as well, so yeah.
As the headstock is getting paint on it, but the rest of the neck isn't, we need to do some masking. A nice trick as well, if you're unsure about paint coming through, is just apply a piece of tape here on the back of the tuners so you don't get any paint coming onto the other side. Then use your fingernail just to burnish around the edge. But we should be fine. There we are. And then finally, before we do any sort of painting at all, is what we should have started with, which is scuff sanding. So I have the Kovacs pad, the finest one here, and we're just gonna scuff up the surface, giving the paint a nice area to kind of like stick to, but also just to kind of get rid of any remaining blemishes that there might be.
Alrighty, same sort of thing as yesterday, except this time we're using Maston 1 moss green. Provided that it's Maston 1, it should go on pretty nice. So, once again, in a motion, always starting off the guitar and then moving into it, never starting on the guitar because that will leave, you know, drips. This is fairly drip free. That's also a very nice thing about this paint. But, oh wow. Oh, wow. That's pretty incredible coverage already. Dude. But here you can see a little bit better the overlap that I was talking about yesterday. That's really freaking cool. I like that color. And it's just going to get better. The first layer, of course, not going on that nice. But the next couple of layers definitely will go on pretty damn cool. And that is that for now. There we go. There we go. That's gonna look great.
To say that I'm pleased is a little bit of an understatement. This color is exactly what I wanted. You can see some of the wood grain and, you know, stuff like this where the joints in the wood aren't really that great. I don't mind this at all. I just think it adds a little bit more to the character of the wood and character of the guitar in general. What we are going to do is we're going to have this be gloss, and then the pick guard is going to remain satin. So that should give a very nice contrast. Now, if they're both satin, it's going to look a little, well, not dull, but toned down. We want to make this really special. So we're going to do one more pass with the Kovacs, the light beige or whatever you want to call this, the highest grit that they have. One very light pass, and then we're going to go on and move to Maston 1 gloss for the body. and the headstock. The headstock is going to get a little bit extra detailing. We're going to remove the end of the fretboard masking here because we want that to be glossy too. But then I'm also going to write a little thing here, and we're going to make the truss rod access black again. So get that going. It's not really necessary for me to go, you know, balls to the wall, absolutely bang on perfect like I would do with a actual custom build by myself or refinish for a customer. So it's been fun to kind of just go at this and see what kind of results I get by just, you know, perhaps not doing everything as precisely as I would do usually. And even so, the product already at this point looks pretty cool. Now, if this were a proper refinish and everything like that, of course I would seal the wood a bit better so that we wouldn't get cracks and stuff like that here and there. There's some bubbles that I would get rid of, but with this guitar being what it is, I am not that fussed. I hope that my niece will think it's cool as well. It's gonna be her first guitar. Hopefully this is the start of a fruitful venture into the world of music and guitars and playing.
Now, not much battery left in the camera, but same process as before.
And that is the final coats of clear. I'm gonna come back tomorrow, pick this up, and then we'll get to assembly. Can't even get the sheen on it. Maybe I can get it on the side, let's see. Maybe, yeah, I will. You can sort of see the reflection there. There we go. So yeah, that's gonna look great. I can't wait to put this thing together.